All right, welcome to another episode of Brothers Arguing Sports. I'm Zob. Across the Zoom is Niles. And today we're going to make our picks for the Mavs Clippers series. And Niles, listen, you've been a Clipper, you've been on the Clipper bandwagon all year. You remember what I said to you at the beginning of the year about the Clippers?
Injuries, something related to injuries.
I said they were too old. And
Mm.
I think it's coming to fruition now, Niles. I mean, why his knees? I've heard he has some inflammation in his knees. Harden is not, he's not playing like Harden. So, well, I'll let you go first. You make your pick first. Who are you picking?
Yeah. So for me, I am sticking with the Clippers. It's a really tough
Ooh.
matchup. For me, it's because it comes down to home court. I see this going 7 games, barring any surprising injuries. There's too many X factors on each team really to count for. But the engine, it's for the Clippers. For me, I think for the first round, it's got to go through Harden. I mean, with Kawhi with the knee injury, like you mentioned, he's not going to be fully 100%. The Clippers blitz. I mean, the
Why do you
Mavericks.
think they're going to beat the Mavs? What's your biggest reason?
Um, I think when it comes down to it, I think the Clippers have some really strong wings. I think that's their advantage over the Mavericks. The Mavericks are a very big team, but their wings aren't very like big or tall. I think if you have Derrick Jones Jr., Josh Green, guys like that against Paul George and Kawhi, I think that's a tough thing to ask. Dante Exum, Kyrie Irving, those guys are going to have to guard James Harden. Harden's going to be on the floor. And I think it just comes down to just possessions. I really think it's going to be tough to stop the Mavericks offense, but I think the Clippers have a good defense to game plan against them 7 series. I like Ty Lue with his adjustment making and Zubac versus Gafford. I think that's what it comes down to.
All
We know
right.
what we're
Well,
going to start.
those are fair points. If this was earlier in the year when the Clippers, really January, February, they were playing as well as anybody,
Right.
I'd give you the Clippers. But since the Mavs have traded for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, their defense has turned around.
Yeah, I was going to
Because
give them that.
and Luka's playing out of his mind. And like I
Mhm.
said, those guys are older. We talked
Mhm.
about, whereas Luka is in the prime
Right.
and it's his time. So that's why it's close, but that's why I just think it's the Mavs time to win. They've been playing better basketball, and it's so
Yeah.
that's why I'm picking the Mavs.
So
But
part of me with that, it comes down to the defense, though. That's the thing. What you just highlighted, it does come down to the defense. Who can play defense for more consistent stretches? And we've seen some great stretches, but also some bad stretches from the Mavericks. So that's my big question. Will the Mavericks be able to play championship level defense consistently through the playoffs against a team that's gone deep in the playoffs before?
Miles, for me, you've been telling me, everyone tells me how great Ty Lue is. To me, he's under pressure this series. If he really is a great coach, because there is a path for the Clippers to win, in my
Mhm.
opinion, because the matchups you could, I figured the Mavs will have Derrick Jones Jr. on Paul George, PJ Washington or Kleber on Kawhi. Then you got what? Kyrie on Harden,
I think you, I
Luka
think
on
you,
Terrence Mann. My point,
Yeah,
you
the
could
starting. That's where the starting lineups mean things. I think Kid's going to be flexible with that. He may go with Kleber one game. He may
yeah.
go with Dante Exum, who I think is going to spend a lot of time guarding Harden, picking
But
him
the
up full
point I'm
court.
making,
But yeah,
you could
Mhm.
make Luka and Kyrie work on defense. You could,
Oh,
and
absolutely,
and
absolutely. That's Ty Lue's philosophy: driving kick, but
that's
also find a link on defense.
and I think a key to this is Zubac. This series, I don't think the Mavs, Gafford or Lively, they're gonna have trouble with Zubac.
Yeah, it really. That's a great
He's
point.
a
I think it comes
so
down to the weak links. Who's the worst? Who's going to be the best weak link defensively on
yeah,
either team? Because we know Luka's going to get targeted for Dallas, and
yeah.
at times Kyrie too. Because again, the Clippers have big wings: Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi, all of the post up smaller guys. But also on the other end, Luka is going to be targeting guys like Plumlee, guys like Zubats, and seeing if they're in shape to withstand guarding out on the perimeter for 7 games. Likely,
But
in my opinion.
so
So
that's
yeah.
so to me, Ty Lue, if he's really as good as everybody says he is, he could win this series. But I'm sticking with Mavs just because, like, to me, the Kawhi Leonard injury is massive. He needs to, because
Yeah.
his
I,
defense,
oh,
I
yeah.
think him not being 100% and the way
I don't
Kyrie
know
are
how close
paying,
to 100% is he. We don't know yet because it's likely the theory is
you don't
they
know.
held him out just like Embiid. They held him
But
out
I'm not even
precautionary.
honestly, I just
But
don't have much confidence in Harden this series. You just mentioned he's your key. I don't see him having a big. I just don't see it. I just
I
don't.
don't think we need him to though. I think for me, I was going to ask you right after this, who's your X factor in this? But I think as Harden's
Listen, Zubac is
only
my X
his
factor.
biggest value in this is getting 10 assists per night. I don't think we need to rely on Harden to be a big time scorer. That's what I think this
But
worked
we'll,
for the Clippers a little
yeah,
bit.
I agree.
If
But
everybody's healthy, he has guys like Paul George, Kawhi, Norman Powell, who's likely going to win Sixth Man of the Year,
yeah,
Russell Westbrook. He has athletes. Terrence Mann's had a good year offensively and defensively. They have a lot of targets, and if they're healthy, that is the big question. But
yeah.
I believe they have more offensive talent in the seventh game series again than Dallas, and that's why I'm picking
Okay.
the Clippers.
And I'm picking the Mavs because I just think it's. I don't think anyone's stopping Luca right now. I think it's his time. All
Yeah.
right, Niles. Enjoy the playing game tonight, guys. Let us know who you think in the comments. Mavs or Clippers. Good night.